Hey everyone, welcome to College 101, and this is my week one, um, end of week, I guess, message to you guys. So you should be working on and finishing up today these discussion board, inclusive access, MindTap. There's a couple of questions, so I'm just going to touch base a little bit on a couple of the questions before I move into the rest of my video. So again, this inclusive access, I think where the question comes into play, I'm just going to make this bigger, is if you bought a book. So let's say you bought a book, you don't have to pay anything for the materials for this class. So the materials for this class are free. The issue comes into 1B is if you have Cengage Unlimited, they want to credit you the fee that's attached to this class. So that's why you have to do the steps in 1B. So if you have Cengage Unlimited for other textbooks and programs that you have, then you would want to follow these steps. Otherwise, if you just bought the physical copy of the book, you don't need to buy anything else. You don't also need the physical copy of the book because it's also in here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you now is in Learning Plan 2. So for this next week, we're going to start getting into some of the College 101 concepts, and I'm hoping to introduce you to some things that I really like as well. So there's a student engagement activity, which is a discussion board called George and Rosemary for you guys to participate in. Okay, so that's going to be happening. And then these little links here are going to take you into MindTap. So I'm just going to go ahead and click into this. And I might have my pop-up blocker on. I do. Okay, so you can see nothing happened, right? So this is a really great example. I need to go ahead and set my pop-up blocker on here so that I remove it so that I can fix it. So I am in Chrome, so I'm just going to settings, content settings is blocked for this. I'm going to unblock it, and then I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to try and click in again, and it should let me in. It opens up into a totally different screen when you come in here. So it might be hidden on your computer if you can't find it. Sometimes what I'll do is I will just come down here and I will right click, and you can see if it opens in a different window. This one didn't this time, but sometimes it opens in a different window and it might be hidden. So when you have your chapter reading that you have to do, which we're going to start this week, this is the chapter. So it's already in MindTap, and you can come in here and you can read through the chapter. You can page through each of the pages. It's in a very nice and easy format. If you have trouble with the journals are also in here, so you can find the journals in here as you go. Understanding the culture of higher education and the differences that are here. I love this example of the cultural iceberg and how you have the surface culture. These are things we see, but there's a lot of things that are happening that we don't really know about, and people have opinions and beliefs, and how do we navigate those things? So sometimes when we go to places, I feel like we're not in Kansas anymore. This happens to me all the time when I'm in certain spaces because believe it or not, being a business instructor, which I am, and then being also in a lot of global classes that I'll take for continuing education, a lot of the global classes are really I'm on sociology type related instructors that are in there, and they all have beliefs about businesses that are very negative. So every time I come into them, I'll walk in the door and kind of be smacked in the face with how businesses are terrible and unnecessary and we shouldn't have them. So that's something that I have to deal with from a culture perspective and I know it now. It's really easy for me to navigate that, but in the beginning was probably really hard. And I think we have similar things like that in college. And it's not that we don't have, from a business perspective, businesses that are environmentally unfriendly or take shortcuts. Those stories are in the news all the time. Just like there are stories that there are bad teachers or bad police officers in the news all the time. That doesn't mean they're all like that. So it's really kind of talking through what that means and what some of the good ones are and stuff like that. So navigating this is really important. So this chapter has a lot of really great introductory topics. The College 101 is broken into two pieces. They have a section that is more soft skill related, so really exploring kind of how you think and process and motivate. And then there's another side of it, which is a study skill piece of it, which we'll be getting into a little bit later on. So that's really how this book is kind of geared. Now, if you don't like to read, there's a couple of things you can do. This will actually have a voice reader on it.
Understanding the expectations of college and university educators.
So you can actually press that and it will read to you. It highlights what it's reading as it's going along. So I always tell people, if you're making dinner, you can have your laptop or tablet up and be listening to MindTap. MindTap does have an app as well. So you could be listening to that. You can change the pace of it on the right hand side. This is a male United States voice. You could do a male British voice because those are always fun. I don't know if you can
understanding the expectations of college and university.
So anyway, you can have fun with that. So it does read to you, so that's something to pay attention to. Regardless of what assignment you're in, you can always come here and click the full book and you'll get your book. Okay, so that's always really nice to have. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go back into this learning plan, and now let's say I read through the chapter. I'm going to go to the quiz. So notice that it didn't pull the quiz up, it's pulling it up in the other tab. So I'm going to go over to the tab and it'll pull the quiz up. Quiz is pretty easy. I do believe you get another attempt at this too, so you can retake it, but I do think that it averages out your scores. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but it doesn't give you the best score. So if you only get one wrong, it's probably not worth trying to take it a second time. So let's say you're reading through this and you're like, gosh, the surface and deep culture, we just talked about that. I'm not really sure what that means. You can go ahead and pull your book up, go into chapters. We're in chapter 1, and I'm going to go to the surface of higher education, and I'm going to find, maybe it was on that page. Where's my iceberg? It must be here. Well, where's my iceberg? I'm just trying to find it. Okay, so the surface of higher altitude. I really feel like, oh, it was here. It's on the very first page. Okay. So you can navigate through your book, you can find it. This is surface and deep culture. Then you can read through the question and you just hit the toggle. Once you're done, you must hit submit assignment for grading. So that's the one thing to make sure that you do. Okay, so that is the quiz. It also goes through here too, so you can, once you're done with it, you can go back through here. In each chapter there's a what would you do. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, you just get points for completing this. So thinking through this, it says the cost of school can vary based on the type of institution, in-state or out-of-state. You can just say like kind of where are you at. So this just kind of, it walks you through financial literacy and how your decisions influence like how you learn, study, and grow. So that's really what the intent is for that. And then journal entry 2. Journal entry 2 is what you're getting into with your Pathbright. So it logs into that Pathbright account. So it's still part of MindTap. It doesn't really go anywhere crazy. But basically, and yours is probably going to look just a little bit different. This is my teacher version of it. But this is the question. So the question is the 8 key expectations found in the book. Which of the following was most different from your previous culture? So what I do is I just do a Control-C here. And I'm going to write my text. And I'm going to do a Control-V. Command-V. Oh, maybe. I'm on an app, Mac, so hang on with me. Okay. Command-C. Easy I get at. Okay, so I have it in here. But now I'm not really sure what the 8 key expectations were. So I'm going to go back to my chapter and I'm going to go into chapter 1 and there is 8 key expectations right here. So now I'm going to look through this because it says which of them were most different from my previous educational experience. So you could be comparing it to high school, you could be comparing it to high school from 20 years ago or college or whatever it might be. So you're going to go through these read through the 8 key expectations and pick the one that you think is most different and explain the differences using personal examples. So make sure that you add some detail and information to this. And then the second part of it is, which of the 8 key expectations do you think is most important for you to be successful in college, and why? So why now do you think it would be most important? So that's there. Once you're done, you're going to go ahead and save it. And you can see that if you didn't finish, you can always come back in and edit your text, okay? You have to go all the way to the bottom and submit. There's a submit button, and I don't have it, but you will have a submit button. It's red, I think. Make sure you submit it, okay? So those are the journals. You're gonna have journals every week. Dig deep. Don't do a one-sentence answer. I'm looking for more information than that. Part of the rubric is to be able to dig deep, and you'll lose points if you don't. So make sure you do that. So there's 2 journals here. Journal 3 is related to the soft skills assessment. So you'll go into the soft skills assessment, and it's really a rating of where you're at. So whatever your score is, don't beat yourself up about it. It's how you're feeling about yourself at the time. So everybody's is going to be a little bit different. But there are 8 pages of these, so there's 64 questions in the soft skill assessment. They go pretty quickly because you get to decide, you know, I control how successful I'll be. Maybe you think that's a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 totally true, 0 totally false. That's how you're answering this, okay? I'm not sure why I'm in college. Yeah, I'm really not sure why I'm in college. You know, that might be how you're feeling, right? I spend most of my time doing important things. Yep, I feel pretty strongly that I do some pretty important things. So this is kind of how you do this. You're going to go all the way to next, and then you're going to hit submit. If it won't let you hit submit, it's because you might have missed one of these. So go back through each of the pages. You can flip through it up here and answer. Because if I tried to do this, it wouldn't let me. So it won't let me calculate scores until they're all finished. When it's done, it's going to give you a report. So the first section says, like, sometimes, usually. That's not what I'm looking for. You got to scroll down a little lower, and it's going to have your points. You're going to want to write that down because Journal 3 is using your score. So your actual score is going to be entered manually, and then it's going to ask you about which one of those employability skills, you know, did you think of, surprised you for being high or low, and what do you think about it? So that's what that journal is going to be right here, okay? So this is going to be manually entered, and I can't actually enter it. I can't actually enter it until you complete journal entry 3 with your actual scores. If you don't have an actual score in there and you only do, like, sometimes, usually, whatever, I'll have to wait until the end because I can't actually see what your scores are until the very end of the class. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on this week. So it's really an introduction to College 101, getting us ready for it, and I think that will be amazing and you'll enjoy this. I've got a couple of Mike Rowe videos I'm going to send your way because I think they're really critical and important, so I hope you enjoy them as much as I did. Mike Rowe has a sweat pledge for people to sign, so if you're in the trades, he offers scholarships to folks in the trades going to 2-year schools. So he's the guy from Dirty Jobs. He really believes in 2-year education, and he wants to give scholarships out for it. So his videos are awesome. I love how he ties things together, so I'll be putting that out there for you just for your entertainment purposes and probably some quotes as we go. Please take this class as seriously as possible. If I get entries that are, you know, tacky or messing around or that kind of stuff, you just get zeros for those journals. So it's not even worth doing them if that's what you're going to do. I don't get that very much anymore, but I just thought I'd say that in case something happens. But we'll get you all set up, and I'll be going through my emails today and responding to a few of you because I think some of you sent me some questions over the weekend. I don't respond to emails over the weekend, so you got to be patient with me. It's my time off too. So I hope that's it. Have a fantastic and wonderful week, and I'm so glad I'm able to put this video together for you.